J.K. Rowling likes to start her workday at 9 a.m. This is so she can get up and enjoy breakfast, clean the house, etc. before clocking into work.
This is perfect for me because I also love classical music and tea. I especially enjoy classical pop music. My favorite singers include Hayley Westenra, Josh Groban, and Andrea Bocelli. This is actually a brain break technique that I learned while living and teaching in Daegu, South Korea, and it was fantastic. Brain breaks are a lifesaver. Hello my lovelies, welcome back to our Writer's Corner. Today I wanted to try a writer's routine. Now I've been wanting to try a writer's routine for some time now, but I wanted to find someone whose schedule is either close to mine or resembles mine, and that's because I work a 9-to-5 job and I have 2 little ones, so I can't just neglect my life. And today feels like the perfect day to do that because I actually took time off of work. I have a dental appointment to go to later today, so I thought that I would squeeze in the writing routine, go to the appointment, and then go pick up my babies from daycare. The first person who came to mind for me is J.K. Rowling, who is such an inspiration for myself. She is a fantastic writer and she's a mother. She also went from rags to riches in what feels like overnight, but I'm sure it wasn't. And again, such an inspiration. I found J.K. Rowling's writing routine on the creativeecho.com and want to give this snippet of her life a try. Now, I do want to leave you guys with a disclaimer, which is to say that this video is made for entertainment purposes only. Please do not comment on J.K. Rowling's social media activities or opinions. I am very neutral to all of that. And I still admire her writings and her contribution to the world as a wife, mother, creative, and entrepreneur. Now back to the video. To begin with, who is J.K. Rowling? Joanne Rowling, or Jo, was born on July 31st, 1965 in Yate, England. The K in her name actually comes from her grandmother's name, Kathleen. Rowling herself does not have a middle name. When she was publishing the first Harry Potter book, her publishers decided to abbreviate the first part of her name to make it neutral so boys would not be turned away by her name. This is a female author writing a book about a boy. And sadly, I think that's because it is a societal thing where boys are encouraged to seek out male role models and girls are to seek out female role models. It was a smart move on her publishers, but word eventually came out that J.K. Rowling herself is female and nobody cared. Rowling is not only a children's book author, but a novelist, philanthropist, screenwriter, and film producer. In the case of this video, I'm going to stick to her writing career and her writing routine. So, let's get started.
J.K. Rowling likes to start her workday at 9 a.m. This is so she can get up and enjoy breakfast, clean the house, etc. before clocking in to work. I am starting at 8 a.m. because I have other obligations later today. In her early days, while working on Harry Potter, Rowling would stroll her eldest daughter around, who was still very young. And once her daughter was fast asleep in the stroller, she would then go into a cafe and write. Today, Rowling writes in the comfort of her home, including a little cabin in her garden. I couldn't find recent details on her house, and I also found multiple sources that said she has other properties, so we're just going to conclude that this image is not of her house, but one that I would love for myself.
In the case of myself, I like to write throughout the house. I can be found writing at the dining table, where I film most of my videos, the sofa, my antique writing desk, in bed, in the car. And right now, I am writing at my desk in my bedroom because my children are not next door in their room napping. Rowling enjoys writing longhand, meaning with a pen or pencil and paper. I too enjoy this process, probably because Rowling and I grew up in the age of limited technology use in the classroom. I still remember going to computer class, and now students have the ease of computers or laptops and iPads directly in the classroom. Lucky. Still, there are benefits to writing longhand in comparison to typing on a keyboard. In the case of myself, I'm actually going to revise Project Emily. I'm on the 3rd draft of it, so I am going to be on my laptop instead. Rowling, like many other authors, say to keep your writing time and space sacred and protected. This means don't get distracted, don't run errands or requests for others, and try not to squeeze in too many meetings.
Rowling also likes to listen to classical music, drink tea, and keep snacks nearby.
This is perfect for me because I also love classical music and tea. I especially enjoy classical pop music. My favorite singers include Hayley Westenra, Josh Groban, and Andrea Bocelli. Just like Rowling, the lyrics can be distracting, so I'm listening to just classical music. As for snacks, I'm actually not a snacker. I think this is because I grew up one out of 6 kids in the family, and my parents were not going to splurge on snacks, only to have us eat it all, and my mother didn't want fat kids. However, we do have snacks. My husband is a snacker, and we buy snacks for the kids. Rowling also likes to give herself breaks throughout her workday. I'm going to write for 50 minutes and take 10-minute breaks every hour. This is actually a brain break technique that I learned while living and teaching in Daegu, South Korea, and it was fantastic. Brain breaks are a lifesaver.
Round 6, but I'm only 3 chapters in.
Finally, Rowling's day ends at 3 p.m., so I am done writing as well. Phew!
Time is up. I am super tired, but I am finally done. I only got 3 chapters in though, but that's okay. I am now going to get ready to go to my dental appointment.
Wow! Hello, my lovelies. Welcome back to a new day. I didn't have time to record the results the day of the writing routine, so I thought I would do that today. So how did I do? To be honest, J.K. Rowling's writing routine was a lot harder than I thought. Firstly, the house was too quiet. My brain actually needed other distractions, and I think this is because there is this phenomenon where we actually work better in the presence of other people doing work. And I can attest to this because when I was going to college, study spaces were nice because there were a few other students using it, or if we were working in the classroom, it was easy to get work done. And I also do this at work currently. I work on Project Emily during my work breaks, and I could just go to town. Whereas when I was writing during the writing routine, it was a lot harder to get things done in just 1 hour or within the 6 hours. I actually only got done with 3 chapters of revision. Because I needed a distraction of some form, I found myself on my phone. I was checking emails, I was checking to see how my kids were doing at daycare. I worked on blogging, I worked on other projects to make future videos. I did a lot of talking. I talked to myself about what needed changing in my writing, and I also found myself like wanting to do stuff around the house. In other words, I couldn't focus for the 50 minutes that I thought I could, and I couldn't focus for a full 6 hours. I also found that listening to music was quite distracting, but I should have known that because at work, I actually have the ability to listen to music and listen to podcasts because I work in front of a computer all day. And when I'm working on an important project, I actually have to pause the music or pause the podcast. So while working on Project Emily, I found that I had to turn off the music just so that I could concentrate. Another thing I struggled with was staying at my writing desk the whole time. So I started here at my writing desk, and I found myself moving downstairs to the living room where I thought it was gonna be a lot more comfortable. But it's cold. I live in Minnesota and it has been cold this past week. It actually snowed yesterday and we're getting a snowstorm tomorrow. So it was cold in the living room due to our fireplace and the cold coming in through the fireplace. So I actually had to move away from the living room. I found myself back up here in bed and I finished my writing in bed instead. And lastly, I was super tired. After 3 hours, I needed to take a nap. And that's because I woke up at 6 a.m. just so I could put in the 6 hours that J.K. Rowling herself would do. Now, she would start writing at 9. I had to start at 8 because I had to go to the dentist and I had to pick up my kids from daycare. I totally understand now why J.K. Rowling drinks cups and cups of tea to keep going. I only gave myself 1 cup of tea. I should have done more. Oh, and I didn't snack. I am not a snacker. That's all I have for this video. Thank you so much for joining me as I talk about these writing topics. If you like what you were watching, which is more vlogs about my writing process, please give this video a thumbs up so that I know, and subscribe for more in the future. Thank you so much. Take care and have fun writing. Bye.
Jane Austen was born in Steventon, Hampshire, England on December 16, 1775.
Again, this routine will be that of Jane Austen, meaning I will have no job to attend and I will be working on skill sets that is to attract a suitor. I am married and I have kids, by the way, so this is really just how much creativity can I get done in a day.
The Austens enjoyed books and theatricals, which could have kickstarted Jane's love for reading and writing up to her death.
Hello my lovelies, welcome back to A Writer's Corner. Today is going to be another writing routine vlog. I'm going to try to follow the daily routine / writing routine of Jane Austen. Jane Austen is the author of such classics as Pride and Prejudice, Sense and Sensibility, and Emma. Now, as an aspiring writer who is working on her own debut novel, which I'm calling Project Emily, I have my own writing routine, but I am curious to see how much creativity or writing I can get done following someone else's routine. Again, this routine will be that of Jane Austen, meaning I will have no job to attend and I will be working on skill sets that is to attract a suitor. I am married and I have kids, by the way, so this is really just how much creativity can I get done in a day. On the topic of Jane Austen, I love history and sometimes I wish I had become a historian instead of a teacher turned office worker / writer / content creator. This would be my opportunity to be a writer plus historian, although I will never be the next Dr. Lucy Worsley, Mary Beard, or Ruth Goodman, 3 of my favorite British historians. Back to Jane Austen's writing / daily routine.
To begin with, who is Jane Austen? Jane Austen was born in Steventon, Hampshire, England on December 16, 1775. She was one of 8 children with 6 brothers and 1 other sister. Jane lived a fairly quiet life with her closely knit family, where she was able to gain some formal schooling in her youth and help out the family wherever possible while honing in her writing ability. The Austens enjoyed books and theatricals, which could have kickstarted Jane's love for reading and writing up to her death. Her family encouraged her to read and write, and her father even bought her a little portable writing desk that she could take with her wherever she went. Jane never married, although in her letters to her sister Cassandra, Jane confessed she met a boy whom she thought would marry her. Sadly, he had a big family to consider and had to choose a wealthier wife in order to financially support his family of many siblings.
Jane did get a proposal sometime later, but she didn't love him, so she broke off the engagement, which goes to show that she wanted to preach what she was teaching her readers. Jane also wanted to find true love and happiness.
However, Not being tied down to another person gave Jane plenty of time to work on her manuscripts and create books rather than babies. She penned 6 novels, 4 of which were published while she was alive and 2 after her death. She also has incomplete novels, and they all keep her legacy going. Jane Austen passed away at the young age of 41 on July 18, 1817. What was Jane Austen's daily life like? Jane liked to rise early and play the piano. The family would then eat breakfast at 9, meaning she had time to go for walks and write. Jane would also visit friends and neighbors after breakfast, do some writing, and help out the family wherever she could.
Which sources say she was not good with chores, so she did a lot of writing instead.
Dinner would then be anywhere from 3 to 4, followed by supper and tea, and downtime for the family before bedtime.
So, let's get started.
During the early 19th century, breakfast consisted of leftovers such as cold cuts, bread or toast, cake, and tea, coffee, or hot chocolate. A wealthier family would have an even bigger array of breakfast items. As for Jane's family, they enjoyed bread and butter with a beverage of choice. We decided to take the kids to the park and then came back home with some ice cream because the ice cream truck drove by. Jane Austen only wrote in the presence of her direct family members. If staff walked into the room or guests came over, Jane would hide her writing and pretend to sew or do something else. Mealtime could contain a roast. Its leftovers would then be the cold cuts for breakfast. There could be a soup, stew, curry, a jelly, and items we may squirm at today, such as sheep's head, cod's head, tripe, tongue, ears, udders, and organs or offal.
have a coin.
What are you gonna do with your coin?
I can write your insurance.
The Austins would have supper and take tea as well, but I'm going to have some sleepy time tea because I don't want to eat again, nor do I want to stay up all night. Good evening, it is nightfall, so I thought I should quickly finish up this video experience before I go to bed. My husband has also put the kids to bed, so that should be a perfect time for me to do this. Now, I've heard sources say that Jane wrote in the middle of the night because it was really hard for them to get some peace and quiet during the day because they had staff in the house, they had guests coming and going, and her father also ran a school in the house, so that didn't really give her a lot of privacy to write. And again, Jane was very secretive about her writing. She only wrote in the company of her direct family members. However, I don't understand why Jane kept her writing a secret because women did work during this time. If your family needed money, you went to work. The only downside was that women made less in wages than men. I'm assuming she didn't want prospects or suitors to know that she had such writing abilities. It could be a turnoff for a man. She could lose marriage proposals if a man found out that she had writing abilities and that she could independently take care of herself if she were to be a highly published author. She could even be a breadwinner, which might be a turnoff for a man. Whatever Jane's reasons, sources say that she did wake up in the night to write. We'll see if I wake up to write. That'll depend on how tired I am. If I don't see you guys in the night, then I'll see you on another day. So, good night.
Hello, good morning, welcome back. It's a new day, so let's talk about how the writing/daily routine went for me. So I attempted the routine on a Saturday, last Saturday to be exact, just so that it would give me a full uninterrupted day. However, I have 2 kids, I'm a full-time mom, so trying to get through the tasks was a lot more time-consuming and it took a lot more effort than I would have liked. For example, I ate breakfast an hour later than I would have liked because I had to first bake it. So while breakfast was baking, I made coffee, and by the time that breakfast was ready, my coffee was almost out. My plan after breakfast was to walk to the park so the kids could play, but my husband ended up injuring his foot just from walking. So we ended up driving to the park instead, but the kids still did get time to play. Afterwards, the kids went down for a nap, which finally gave me time to write, and I ended up starting a new beat sheet for a new upcoming project. If you would like a beat sheet to start your story, see the description box below. I was able to get in about an hour and a half of writing, and I started getting tired by this point, so I decided to go down and make some tea, which was exactly the time that my kids decided to wake up from their nap. I then chose this time to start prepping dinner. My husband and kids went to go visit the grandparents, and this in-between time actually gave me more time to do some reading and writing. In total, I got about 4 hours of creativity time, so that was a bit of reading and a bit of writing, but I would have liked more time to do other things such as sew. Now we know that Jane Austen did do some sewing when guests came into the room or they had staff come into the room because she didn't want them to know that she was writing. My overall verdict and takeaway from this daily/writing routine of Jane Austen's is that although it sounds like she has a lot of time or she had a lot of time to write, she really didn't. It is said that Jane spent years writing each of her novels, and that makes sense because she had responsibilities in and out of the house, she had a social life with friends and parties, And with her writing in private and in secrecy and having people in and out of the house, I'm sure that didn't give her a lot of time to write. If Jane did wake up in the middle of the night to write, I completely understand. Because some nights, when I'm not tired, I do spend this time revising Project Emily. For this particular video, however, I fell asleep through the night, so I did not wake up to write some more in the middle of the night. Would I do this again? To be honest, if this was my day-to-day life, I would get pretty bored. I would definitely want to change it up by visiting friends or getting out further away from the house. But at the same time, I honestly feel like this wouldn't give me time to write because of the travel time. And if I were only to be writing in secret, or let's say in a specific destination, I still wouldn't have a lot of time to write. What would I do differently next time? I think I would like to dress up for the experience. I don't currently own a Regency cosplay outfit. The last one I did own, I was pregnant and it was for a Halloween party at work. So I don't have one. I didn't get to wear one for this experience. I would also have liked to have changed out for dinner, because during Jane Austen's time, people did change out for dinner. They had a dinner formal wear, just because you were expecting guests more at this time. And also, if you've been in an outfit all day and you've been working, you know, you're in and out of the house, let's say you're out on the farm, you're traveling all day, and then you're making dinner, you do want to refresh yourself before a dinner. And I would have liked to be able to have done that too. Again, I would have also liked to have been able to sew and to maybe even try writing with quill and ink, because I don't currently own one, so I used my fountain pen instead. And if I didn't have kids, say they were at daycare, I would probably attempt this again, although I did try J.K. Rowling's writing routine, which you can see up here, and even then I did get tired. I wanted to do other things, and I only got through 3 chapters of revising Project Emily. But I could always attempt again with Jane Austen's lifestyle. Still, I found this daily routine / writing routine to be quite enjoyable because it did give me time for myself and my little family. The only downside is that I don't have staff to do any of the cooking and cleaning for me. Jane had her sister, she had her mother, and they had staff. So she got lucky on that end, unlike myself. But still, no complaints. That's all I have for this video. Thank you so much for joining me on this daily / writing routine journey. Comment below if you'd like to see me follow another author's writing routine. And of course, like this video, subscribe for more in the future, and I will see you guys in another video. Again, thank you and have fun writing. Bye!